Well, the House of Representatives have agreed, well, they did agree on Thursday to support the federal government with 648 million naira for 6 months. And that figure is a bit confusing because some of the papers have a different figure. But this they intend to do by cutting their salaries by 50% to address food sufficiency and high food costs. They also urge Nigerians to be patient with President Bola Tinubu, with his administration, in tackling the nation's challenges. Well, additionally, the House directed its committees on appropriation, humanitarian affairs, finance, and budget to ensure compliance. Now, this decision came after a motion by Honorable Ibrahim Isiaka, APC Ogun State, decided to put this forward so that the House will show their feelings, show what Nigerians are feeling, and show that they feel what Nigerians are feeling, and they also went ahead to encourage Nigerians not to go on strike. Some would say that all of this is a measure to, to ensure that Nigerians don't go to the streets. Oh well, we have with us in the studio Barrister Darlington Agumo and joining us virtually, a journalist and a public affairs commentator, Chukwuma Okoro. I must say, good morning to you, Chukwuma. Welcome to the conversation.
Good morning, Moses. Good morning to the crew.
Okay, now let me start off with you now. Let me start off with you, Mr. Okoro. We've been talking about our lawmakers feeling what the people are feeling. With this gesture, does this come across to you as a goodwill gesture to show what they are feeling? Let's not forget, it is the salary, that half of their salaries, and do we even know how much they earn? We've been told it's 600,000, some are saying it's 800,000, and they want to half it for the benefits of Nigerians. And these are people who basically fix their salaries. Mr. Okoro, what say ye?
Yes, good morning, Moses. You know, the goodwill is actually a goodwill that turns out to be an insult on our collective intelligence. It's an insult on our collective intelligence. You see, I love this country because why I love this country so much is that if Nigeria were to be a movie, if it were to be a movie, it would
win the Oscars.
Movie. Yes, it will be a blockbuster movie. And if it gets to the box office, it's going to rake in trillions of dollars.
Right.
And if Nigeria were a novel, it would be a bestseller, global bestseller. Because the things that happen here, you know, it looks as if we are in a cinema and everybody is enjoying it. Unfortunately, things happen here, and in real life, they are not movies, they are real life to us. Moses, our population is 220 million naira. By the way, that figure was given to us by the United Nations. On our own, we cannot even conduct a credible census to tell ourselves this is our number. So we rely on the figure that is given to us by the United Nations. Of those 220 million people, we select about 469 of them and say, these are supposedly wise men. We gather them and put them in a place we call the National Assembly and ask them to make laws for our good governance, to protect us so that we will live as normal human beings in our own country. Now, these people turn out to make laws that are self-serving. In the midst of our poverty, they are profligating. When we don't have vehicles, when we don't have fuel to drive our cars, they are buying 160 million naira vehicles for each of them. Moses, when we cannot feed, these people are going home with jumbo allowances and salaries. Moses, when we cannot send our kids to school, these people send their kids abroad to go and to school where everything is okay. Moses, when we don't have houses here, these people buy houses in New York and London and in other parts of the world. And all of a sudden, we realize that, look, things can't continue like this. And we said we want to embark on a protest. Now the same people turn around and tell us, sorry, we are going to give off half of our salaries to you for 6 months, just to calm you down, just to calm your restiveness. And after 6 months, the profligacy continues. And now they want to calm our restiveness so that after 6 months they will go back to the profligacy. Moses, I ask, is that not a collective, an insult on our collective intelligence? It is.
Talking about that being an insult to our collective intelligence now.
Yes.
You know, one wants to ask again, how come few individuals who were being sent, it's more like you employ someone to help you do something, and it turns out the person is now richer than you who even employed him or her. How come the people who happen to be our own appointees or our own elected figures, our lawmakers now more like have more money than Nigeria, that they will now be running it as if they were running a charitable organization? Barrister Darlington, before now, this present administration started with giving Nigerians palliative. They were opening our food reserves to share grains to Nigerians. And then maybe it wasn't enough. There was also issue of giving 35,000 naira, 70,000 naira, 20,000 naira, which was actually peeled out from our tax-paying coffers in the name of helping to mitigate hunger in Nigeria. Isn't it laughable that at this point in time, Nigerians are still seated, watching the people that we employ actually living higher than we who happen to be the employers?
Fina, don't be surprised. This is a comedy show. They want to tell you that they feel for you, you know, that they know what you are going through. In the first place, are we not supposed to know their salary, their actual salary?
They refuse to tell us what the salary is. And the little few that decided to talk about it were being suspended. Good. Some were being sanctioned too for talking about all those.
So we don't know their salary, not to talk of the percentage they want to give out. What are the modalities? Whom are they going to give it to? Remember that something happened some time ago when there was a mistaken bombing somewhere in Kaduna. Mm-hmm. And the Senate went to go and pay solidarity visit and said they would donate 1 million naira of their salary, December salary, because of what happened. Please, did anybody hear anything about it again? It's just for photo optics. No money is going anywhere. These people, even if they give that money, I am telling you, after the exercise, they will now ask for another supplementary budget and tell you that the budget they have is not enough, that things are costly, and the Tinubu will sign it just to remain in office. That's what is going on.
Now you just made mention of the budget. Yesterday, we have a 27.5 trillion naira budget running for 2024. But now we have additional supplementary budget of 6.2 trillion naira added to the budget. And some people have actually come up to say that Nigeria is running a 4 budget simultaneously. We have the ones we borrowed from 2023 back into this. And then when you look at some of the reasons why the president is talking about 3 trillion for the concurrent expenditure and 3.2 trillion for the capital expenditure, it's also pointed out the increase of salaries and minimum wage to be the reason for the increment of that supplement budget now. Is it that this administration don't even know that as the things be, as inflation is going on in Nigeria, we have food inflation to be at 40.1%. Headline inflation now is at 34.19% in Nigeria. Is it that they don't know that all these things are happening before they drop the first budget of 27.5 trillion, before linking up to this one that we have now?
It is a poor economic management because you have a 27 trillion naira budget that you're running. Can somebody tell us the impact of that? Have they exhausted that 27 trillion?
That is another question.
To ask for another 6 trillion.
Because no one is giving us any information on what they've been doing with the 27.5 that we have.
Look, that's why I told you that Nigerians have been hypnotized. Somebody should, even the National Assembly should have asked Tinubu, come. You have 27 trillion naira budget that you are running. Have you exhausted all the money that you are asking for 6 trillion?
Does it look like that can be happening when the Senate president, the president of the Senate, the president of Akpabio, told Nigerians, even when we're crying about the untold hardship that we're having, multidimensional poverty we're having in Nigeria, He said that if the presidency talk about the fleet, he would just give a nod. And they call the cries of Nigerians a blackmail, saying no amount of blackmail from Nigerians can deter them from doing that. Does it look like this National Assembly is even willing to move a finger in favor of Nigerians?
They will not. That one I'm surprised. This is hypocrisy at the highest order. The economic downturn that made them to donate half of their salary, are they not part of it? When they were signing and supporting Tinubu's obnoxious policy, didn't they know that there will be repercussions? Have they ever called him and said, come and explain some of these things? This one is not good though. It's not helping us. Rather, when things go south, they will start calling Tinubu, do something, oh, people are hungry. Oh. Meanwhile, they are supporting it. If the National Assembly have been doing their work properly as an institution that's supposed to checkmate the executive, they won't be doing all this excess performance. Right. Because they are going out of board because nobody is checking anybody. The executive just do whatever they like because they know that the legislature are already in their pockets.
It's interesting, Barrister.
In their pockets.
It's quite interesting that you mentioned this. I'm going to come to you, Mr. Chukuma, and the question I want to find out from you is maybe you help Nigeria make sense of this. Another 6 trillion naira from this present administration to be used as supplementary budget. Yet, the last one had not been accounted for. What exactly and how exactly can Nigerians at this point hold the National Assembly accountable? Not forgetting the fact that this same National Assembly is the same National Assembly that is carefully telling Nigerians that they have their interests at heart.
The way we can hold them accounts is by doing what you and I are doing now. We are discussing it, we are putting out opinions, and we are putting out alternatives to how we feel this country could be run. And all of a sudden, Nigerians have woken from slumber and they said, look, we want to pour into the streets, we want to do a protest, to demand for good governance, to demand for accountability from our leaders. Now, the same leaders turn around and ask you, oh, please hold it for a moment. We are going to give up, we are going to give up half of our unnamed salaries, the salaries that we don't even know how much it is. We are going to give it up for 6 months, to calm your restiveness. Take this money, do whatever you will with it. And after 6 months, we will go back to the profligacy, to the extravagance that we have been known for. That is exactly what is happening. And I always say it here. See, the system, no single individual can fix Nigeria. The only people that can fix Nigeria are Nigerians. The system is Nigeria is in a chokehold. So it only requires an implosion to break that chokehold. And that is what the people have planned. All of a sudden, our leaders who are smart by half have also come out to give out minimalist approaches. Okay, sorry, don't go. We are going to give up half of our salaries. We have given you thousands of grains, for you people, bags of rice for you people. And I asked them, if you give me my family 1 bag of rice in the midst of this crushing poverty, you give me 1 bag of rice, and for a household of 6, we finish the rice in 6 weeks or thereabout. Then what happens to us again? We come back to you for another bag of rice. It tells you that the people who are our leaders this present government came unprepared, quite unprepared, because when they dish out short-term measures, to cushion the effect of the hardship, you don't see anything in the horizon that gives you hope that in the long term, the problems will be solved. Nothing, no direction. What we are talking about here is food scarcity. And what caused the food scarcity? Because we are not in the farms anymore. So what has the government done to ensure that people go back to the farm? The only thing they have done now is to remove duties on imported food items so that Nigeria once again will be imported.
It's interesting. It's interesting you mentioned this. Now, when Nigeria starts importing, just like you just mentioned, how does that impact our economy? Not forgetting the fact that when our borders are open, it gives access to some level of staple food that are not worthy of being taken by Nigerians health-wise. Now, how does that impact our economy? And then why is this present administration, including the House of Representatives, not talking about insecurity and allowing our farmers to go back to farm?
David, the first thing is when you bring in these imported goods, it impacts on our economy adversely because you have removed a certain level of protectionism, in favor of our local manufacturers. So if you import a bag of rice from Vietnam and Vietnam is selling it, the landing cost here it lands at 30,000 naira. Do you think a local manufacturer, a local producer of rice is going to sell his own above that 30,000 naira? Even if at that rate the person doesn't make profit. So you are simply destroying the local economy that they are supposed to build. That is what is happening. And it speaks to the cluelessness of this government. No policy direction. And I always ask them, in what direction are we going up in this economy? Are we trying to grow this economy by protecting it? Or are we trying to grow this economy by opening our doors so that foreigners will flood in and destroy what is left of it?
Okay. All right. Let's put some things in perspective here. Working with the figures that we have, we know we don't have the exact figures of how much they earn or how much they take home. But we have something to work with. Working with the figure of 800,000 naira that's the salary that they take home. If they are to give half of it, that's about 400,000. So that's 50% of it slashed. 400,000 by 360 members amounts to about 144 million naira a month. 144 million naira a month for over 200 million people. What would that do, really?
That is it. That is the hypocrisy. That is the deceit.
Before you proceed, Barrister,
yes,
we also working with an estimated figure. They have 8.5 million naira take home, monthly take home to run offices, to run their office and other things. If they are to half that, we'll be talking about 4.25 million a month. Now, 4.25 million a month times 360 members, that's 1.530 billion. 1.530 billion, side by side with 144 million a month. If they are to truly show that they feel what Nigerians are going through, in fact, that statement alone makes me feel like they are detached from the people. I mean, we are all Nigerians. We are all within the landscape.
The Santa Claus, they're the ones waiting for them to come.
We are all within the landscape, and they are feeling what we are. That means they are not exactly feeling what we are feeling. But if we are to juxtapose this, which one will come off as a sacrifice, a true sacrifice?
Moses, please let us not compare what is incomparable. Leave the allowances. Don't go there. Leave the allowance. They have already told you that they are talking of their main salary. That is where they are going to tinker with.
So how come incentives now are higher than the main salary someone should take home?
That is where I'm telling you, that's where the hypocrisy comes. There are people who don't touch their salary. I remember Buhari and Oshibajo equally did the same thing, that they are going to slash their salary. Is that not true? They said it now. What will happen at the end of the day? At the end of the day, what they took home, with the one we are investigating now from CBN, who took that money? Tell me, who took the money?
It's quite interesting.
All this is a deceit. And gullible Nigerians will lash at it. They are supporters. They will not tell you how they have sacrificed for Nigeria, how they are sacrificing for you, yet you are not grateful. Look at it this way. They said they are going each state or local government 20 trucks of food items. Yeah. That rice now, I am telling you, on that August 1st, when the protest is supposed to start, that's when they will share it.
Talking about
so
that
that
right
people's
now,
attention will
Barrister,
be diverted.
if we're to talk about sharing 740 trucks of rice to Nigerians, and then you found out that one bag of rice, which is like 20, not even the 50 kg now, the 25 kg of rice will be shared by 17 households. How many cups of rice would they actually get
I said
from that
they
rice?
know what they are doing. They just want to keep you alive, but not dead, so that you will vote for them in 2027. That's all.
We have a number on the screen, for you to call in and actually participate more in this conversation. Because the way it's going, we are voice of the people, and we'd like your voice actually to be heard during the course of this program. Because this is the state of the nation, and Nigerians must be involved. And that brings me to other question I want to ask Mr. Chukwuma Okoro. A clergy last weekend made mention of giving December to be a time frame. I'm talking about Olujobi, saying that by December, lawmakers should get ready to be stoned by Nigerians. And not just him, so many other persons also have actually talked. Even Ali Indeme, the chief whip, which actually has been demoted now from being the chief whip, over the fact that he made mention of the National Assembly, or this administration now, working with khaki stocrats and people who are not qualified to be in the helms of affairs. Now, do you actually think that this money being donated by the reps, it's a way for them to run away from the foreseen prophecy by the clergy?
Well, Fina, I don't know about the prophecy. I'm not one. I'm not a prophecy interpreter. But what I do know is that the level of discontent in the country is very high. And when it gets to this level, the only thing that can stop it is good governance. Unfortunately, for the members that want to use the halving of their salaries and the bags of rice as a ploy to dissuade Nigerians, it's not going to happen, because Nigerians are far more intelligent than they were like 10 years ago. Such things will have been possible, to assuage the feelings of Nigerians. But at this moment, I think they have reached a threshold where their elasticity is almost broken. It has reached a point where there is no turning back. The only thing that can turn back the faith and the minds of Nigerians about what they want to do is good governance. It's good governance. You see, you were putting figures here and there, and 144 million naira is not even up to the amount of money that was used to buy one vehicle for one of them. In May last year, in June last year, from monies that were borrowed, they dipped their hands in there and bought vehicles valued at 160 million naira for each of them. And you think that Nigerians don't know? Our level of political sophistication is growing day by day. So Nigerians are aware that, look, if you do these things, they are just temporary. Nigerians want permanent solutions to their problems. And if you put down these policies, the step-by-step measures, Nigerians can begin to look at them. But for now, there is none, apart from giving out bags of rice. So it doesn't help. Whatever Nigerians have planned to do, trust me, they are going to do it. I understand that there's a counter force.
Mr. Kuro, let me just interrupt your line of thought, your train of thought now. Does it seem like the president has fallen out with the North? Has it degenerated so badly? Because this, you don't believe in the prophecies, but they have come. They have come. And the prophecies have been that if there will be a protest in Nigeria, it will start from the North. Well, we know that usually when protests, for it to make effect, to make an impact, Lagos would have to be involved. But now we're looking at the northern part of Nigeria leading the emergence of a protest. And does it seem like the president has fallen out terribly with political leaders from the North? Could this be what will be motivating a protest?
Moses, the truth of the matter is that the president has fallen out with almost everybody. Nationally, the people, the leaders. But from the angle of the North, it is self-serving. Do you know why the North is complaining? The North is simply complaining because they are at the short end of the stick now. They have been shortchanged. If you look at what the president is doing, Everything he takes away from the north, he gives it back to the southwest. Everything he takes away from the south-south, from the southeast, he gives it back 80% over 100 to the southwest. Now, the same thing happened between 2015 and 2023. What did they not do? They did not kick against it. They not didn't. So what they are doing is self-serving. It is not altruistic. It is just because a few of them have been pushed out of the power base. That is why they are complaining. And it's the same note that is saying, oh, this protest is being organized by the Southeast, so let's not be part of it. A section of the North is saying that kind of thing. So you see, there's a kind of division, and it's a power tussle between the forces that hold this country down, those for and those against that are struggling. It is not about the masses of Nigerians. It is not about the interest of the average Nigerians. It is about the interest of a few people at the top, few elites that have been pushed out of power. That is exactly what is happening.
It's quite interesting. You just mentioned that it's a little few that have been benefiting from all of this. I'm going to come to you, Barrister. As it stands, 108 million every month. Let's assume that this is true. They're going to give the money. What impact do you think that kind of money would have on this present Nigerian system that is presently overwhelmed with so much insecurity and inflation? Owing to the fact, again, that this same House of Assembly is not calling any of the security chiefs to order as concerning insecurity while the farmers will not be returning to farm. How do you juxtapose all of this?
David, the first one, if I'm not mistaken, this type of palliative and ad hoc arrangement, it has been over 5 times that the federal government and this National Assembly tried it. What was the impact? What was the impact? Nothing. That means that whatever they are bringing out is not getting to the real people. I said it here, that those people who need this palliative, they are in the interior villages in Nigeria where there is no electricity. They don't have bank account. They don't even have any means of communication. So how do you reach them? That is it. So this thing they are doing in the city, it doesn't get to the people. That is why they are not feeling the impact. And that is a fact. So this thing you are talking about here, they already know, but they don't want to do the right thing. Look, they created a whole ministry for this type of thing. What happened to the money allocated to that ministry? It has entered June 12th. We are looking for the money now. Even the woman has been called by the court to come and account. She refused. You know all the hula baloo over the money with the Betedu and Co. Is that not for humanitarian ministry? So, if you know that this money is not getting to the people, why do you continue to pour water on a perforated basket? And you think that the water will stay there? It will not. Yeah, instead of them to do... It
wouldn't even stay in a basket in the first place.
Yes.
Let's alone perforate.
Because you have been talking about this, have you not been saying it? That's the only antidote. Moses, that is the only antidote. Let farmers go back to farm. After all, they met us somewhere before 2015. People were going to farm. We know how we enjoy Benue yam here. All of a sudden, we see it in the market. If you see at all, one is about 7,000 naira now. One, just one. Right. How many people can afford that? How many? You know the problem here, you refuse to solve it. Only for you to be importing food, removing taxation on the whatever, do this. Or ad hoc arrangement, it doesn't last. Either 6 months, 3 months, either 6 months, 3 months. At the end of it, what happens? This thing they are telling you now that they are going to donate salary.
This would be a good place to leave this conversation because we'll be going into another conversation.
They are not helping matters. They are not helping matters.
All right, we'd like you to
it's the action of a confused man.
All right, we'd like you, Barrister, to stay with us, and also Mr. Okoro, stay with us as we get into another conversation. We'll be talking about the minimum wage. The final conclusion, Labour and federal government have arrived at a minimum wage for Nigerian workers. 70,000 naira has been put on the table. Let's talk about this one when we come back.